PBKC is your entertainment destination for poker, table games, OTB, Paddock live events, and exceptional eats. The Paddock restaurant is perfect for meetings, corporate functions, parties, fundraising, and more. Call 561-683-2222 extension 199 and book your next event today.
It's Wednesday morning. It's 10 a.m. And, folks, we are back. The whole gang's back together here for PBKC Picks.
Been a while.
It feels like it's been all summer. PBKC Picks, we're broadcasting live from the Palm Beach Kennel Club on the second floor. And we're so happy to have the president of PBKC back, Mr. Pat Rooney.
Jake's mad because he didn't have my Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. in there, but I haven't been on in like 3 months, so no worries, Jake. I would have not put myself in there either, but it's good to be back. I got a couple good hot takes for you guys, but all in all, it's been a enjoyable summer.
Nice.
But and I'm enjoying the heat being back here in the spacious studios. So hopefully we don't melt as we go along here, but we'll get through it.
Yeah, let us know. I know you did go to the MLB All-Star game. How was that?
I did.
Oh,
you did?
I'm going to put that up there with the worst event.
Takes already. They didn't take 35 seconds.
Not sporting event. Worst event I've ever gone to.
Really?
Wow.
I mean, I spent a lot of money. You know, I'm bringing my kids. I brought my wife. She never goes to anything.
Oh, my God.
And after like the fourth, first of all, Sanchez gives up 3 runs right off the bat.
Right.
And that was it. The game was over. Like, I think the rest of the National League had a hit through 7 innings or something. I didn't have a runner past second. I think the whole night, it was like we weren't even watching a sporting event. We were waiting for like in between the innings for the Philly Fanatic or somebody to do something because the game itself was absolutely horrendous. I don't know what MLB can do about it. It just is what it is. But the game was so bad. We had a guy from Seattle behind us. He flew in from Seattle with his kid.
Wow.
And I'm apologizing to him. I'm like, hey, I'm really sorry. Like he's like, no, we got to see the Liberty Bell and stuff like that. So I'm like, all right, so at least you got to see some things in Philadelphia. But this product here is horrendous. It was just such a bad event. And, again, I don't know what you can do about it. I know all these all-star games seem to be going through the same similar where football doesn't even do it anymore. And in basketball, it's 4 or 5 teams playing against each other. Hockey's the same thing. So I know they're all trying, but, my God, that was horrendous. It was really bad.
Yeah, we'll talk about more baseball a little bit later in the show. Right behind Pat today, that is Earnest Christian.
How you doing?
He's
not melting yet.
He's
I
crying
got a
about
lot going on
being
here. We got a lot going on.
sweaty.
Football's back, so we got a lot going
Ernest
on.
is
So
sweating.
I'm ready to go.
Ernest has an iPad today. I don't know if we should be worried about that or not. Right behind me, he runs the poker room here, also an assistant general manager. It's Noah Carbone.
Hey, Mike, it's good to be back. Last week I missed. I was dropping my kid off from school, and I got a beef with Pat. Pat didn't prepare me for what was going to transpire there.
Did you weep? Were you openly weeping?
I needed you, Pat. I needed you. Like dropping her off, it's a whole different world down there. Like with all the girls with the. And Pat, I think my daughter and your daughter are similar, where they don't get into that whole like supermodel type thing, like check me out, and it is a totally different world down there at these colleges. It is bizarre. It is crazy.
Yeah.
You didn't cry, did you?
No, not. I wouldn't tell anybody if I did.
Be a man. Just say yes or no.
You don't ask.
It's okay to well up.
Yeah, well up is a good word. Yeah, it was welled up. I held them. They didn't
I will
spill.
tear up my kids go to college.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I will tear up.
Luckily, my kids aren't making it to college.
Whoa. Calm down, man. Your kids are smart. Come on.
Let's talk about Feast and Football. That's what's going to be starting the first NFL Sunday. That goes September 13th to January 10th. It's watch, wager, and win at the Paddock. The buffet is free with a $25 or Bauer bet placed day of right here at PBKC with the Hard Rock Bet app, which are our marketing partners. We'll talk about them a little bit later, but that is the best ticket in town. It's Feast and Football every NFL Sunday starting at 11:30 a.m. in the Paddock Restaurant. More information, go to the website.
And the poker room, Mike. Remember, don't
right.
forget.
Poker room, we have specials too.
Yeah. Well, you get that if you make the bet. You get that.
Yeah, we also have great specials for NFL Sundays in the poker room too, which is an awesome deal. So wherever you are here, you're going to get some great deals. Now we're going to start in with the NFL news. One of the topics that's been hot the last couple of days is the NFL to NCAA controversy, where a legal and structural storyline. It's gripping these league circles where players immediately return to college and claim NIL paydays when they're cut from NFL training camps. The SEC and the Big Ten have already banned this. Pat, how are we feeling about these guys that don't make the team going back to college?
Well, I mean, you can look at it at two levels. Do you think this is like the right thing to do, or it should be allowed, or whatever? And I think most people would agree, no. Once you essentially turn pro, you're a pro now, and that's whether you make it or not. It's tough cookies, but you don't get the option now to go back to college. But that's not the world we live in right now. These guys, because of the NIL and all that other stuff that has entered college football, and I think I mentioned this at one of our shows a while ago, this is going to be an issue for the NFL. And I think I remember in the context where the Oregon quarterback, who was going to be in like the top 2 picks this year, said, no, I'm going back to college because I can probably make more money doing that than being the number 2 pick in the NFL. And guess what? He's probably right. So this is more of an NFL issue that they got to figure out what their relationship is going to be with colleges going forward, because you are going to have a guy, somebody like a Tim Tebow is going to be like, I've got a lot of experts that have told me my game is really at the college level. I'm not, or Johnny Manziel or somebody like that. My game is not going to translate into the NFL. So rather than go and expose myself and be like, you know what, I'm really not the player, that I was in college and all that, I'm going to stay in college for 10 years, for 12 years, and be the quarterback of the University of Florida and dominate.
I like that.
And that's what's going to happen with a lot of these guys. And I don't know what the issue is. A lot of my brothers were texting me and they're just like, this is ridiculous. This guy had 2 sacks in this preseason game, and now because he's going to get cut, I'm like, he's going to win. He's going to be able to go back. The Big Ten and the SEC can ban them all they want. As soon as he finds a judge, the judge is going to be like, I'm giving him eligibility. So I unless Congress gets together, which they're talking about doing, and actually coming up with a nationwide law to deal with this, and even then, I'm not so sure that the Supreme Court might be like, nope, that is not the country that we have. You are free agents. You can do what you want. You're independent contractors, however you want to look at it. And if you want to go back to college at age 30 and go back there and play and get some money out of it, I don't know how you're going to legally stop that. We can all agree that from a look standpoint and just a basic common sense, it doesn't feel right. But that doesn't play in the court of law in this country. So these guys are going to go back, and the Big Ten and everybody can ban them all they want. But all they need to do is find a judge that says, nope, he's got eligibility, and he's going to go back.
I think the bad look for me is more so so the tight end from Ole Miss, right, I guess?
He's going back to LSU. And by the way, Lane Kiffin says, I don't care. This is what we're going to do. This is the environment we're playing in. I want him back.
If I'm the tight end of LSU, for example, currently trying to make the roster or on the roster, because now, look, college football starts this week, actually. All of a sudden, this kid cuts the line out of nowhere. That's why I'd be bothered with anything else, is that part. Like, in a short frame of time, you can go from being the starting tight end, whatever it be,
tough cookies,
and then literally this dude who's in the NFL, trying to be in the NFL, cuts the line. That's what I'm about. Now look, typically I'm more hands off on these kind of issues. Let the market dictate all this stuff.
Yeah,
is it a bad look? It's a weird look. It's a weird look, and Pat's right. I don't know once you get into the legality of it all if they'll have a case to stop this.
Yeah.
So this is a new world we're in now, and sports is changing before our very eyes, man.
Next thing Pat touched on it is at risk is eligibility. These guys, their eligibility is going to be a thing where they're like, you know what? No longer. You can play as long as you want. That's coming next. That's
the thing is, are we as a collective, are we for that going forward as fans?
Well, let me ask you this, Ernest. Who's your college football team?
Florida State.
All right. If who's the kid that went to the NBA? He was the
Charlie Ward.
Charlie Ward. Yeah. So Charlie Ward says, my game does not translate into the NFL. I'm going to stay at Florida State for 10 years and win 5 or 6 national championships. You're going to be okay with that?
As a fan,
absolutely, you would be.
Tim Tebow will suit up tomorrow. There is no doubt in my mind.
It's a weird look. I'm not saying it's a weird look. But again, this is also us breaking out these mindsets of yesteryear. We are evolving in a lot of ways, and it's uncomfortable, but it's also something we have to start really embracing some of these things going forward.
Yeah. Skyler's checking in. He also said that that's going to happen in college basketball as well, which is going to be quite interesting.
Probably more so college basketball than football. They're actually
There's
more
only a
dangerous.
Finite amount of positions you can play in the NBA.
Skyler's a Dallas fan. Dak could go back to college.
Wow.
What a sound.
Well, let's talk about another quarterback. His name is Deshaun Watson. He has been named.
Deshaun should go back to Clemson.
And you are a Clemson fan, go figure. So, hey.
So Deshaun did win the job, and he has already come out before he got the job and said it's essentially going to be like playing 17 away games if he's the starting quarterback, simply because of the issue he has with the fans. And I was talking to a Cleveland diehard fan yesterday. He's sitting like 3 feet away from us, and me and Sully were saying like, hey, if he wins the first 2 games, comes back for the first home game, are they going to accept him? The answer is no. If he wins 10 in a row, they're going to accept him. No, the Cleveland fans will never accept Deshaun Watson. He doesn't like them either because they were cheering when he tore his ACL. What is going on in Cleveland, Pat?
Well, I pride myself on being somewhat of a decent judge of character. Like I can somewhat sum up some people if I meet them for a little bit and get to know them and whatever. I'm like, all right, this guy's a jerk or this guy's a really good guy or whatever. Now, again, you can't do this with people you're watching on TV or things like that. Yeah. But everything I saw of Deshaun at Clemson, all the stuff that I heard Dabo, if you remember when he came out and he was going to come out and people were talking about where to draft him, it was like, well, if you don't want to draft Michael Jordan, then that's on you. I remember that. I really thought Deshaun was going to dominate in the NFL. I thought he was going to be – at least for this era, I thought he was going to be a top 10 quarterback for, 10 years or so. I just thought he was that kind of a special player. He should have won the Heisman. Just all this stuff. He just seems soft-spoken and a focused person. So, again, I'm going to, admit it now. Obviously, I don't know him personally, and I don't know what type of person he is. But with all the stuff that happens with the massages and everything else and just the way he's comported himself since then, it's almost like he's 2 different people. I don't know who this guy is. Like, you've been in the league long enough now. You can't go in front of the cameras and be like, this is ridiculous. Like, these fans were booing me when I tore my – they're booing you because you're a jerk, because you didn't live up to this ridiculous contract that you got, and almost nobody could, but you didn't do anything to try to endear yourself to this fan base. And, yeah, they're going to boo because you're not showing what you're worth. You shouldn't have taken this kind of money, if that makes sense, if you weren't going to be prepared to have to deal with what the consequences were with that kind of contract. And it baffles me that this guy doesn't have PR people or somebody. They're like, here's the response. Here's what you say. Just be like, I'm going day by day. We're gonna get this right. I'm gonna do whatever I have to do to make this team better. Everything's on me, and I accept that. And I accept that. I'd boo myself too. Blah blah blah. Say what all these other great quarterbacks and great people that have dealt with the media and the fans. It's not rocket science. All this stuff is laid out. Just say the same stuff, and you might be somewhat, endearing yourself to them. But by saying what he said, they hate him. I agree with you. I don't know if he wins 10 in a row, if that'll mean anything to him. So he dug himself this ditch, and it's a shame because I actually still think he's somewhat of a decent – he made some horrendous personal mistakes, but – I just never got the sense that he was this type of person, and man, he's almost like the Phil Mickelson of football. It's like a guy that did so well in college and to a great extent in Houston, comes against his contract, and then does the stuff with the women and all that, and just completely blows an image that he had. And I just don't know where he goes from here.
Well, I have a take for you guys.
Probably
going to get me canceled.
Okay.
Probably going to get me canceled from this world of the internet, and maybe you guys
all right,
too.
easy now.
I am rooting for Deshaun Watson.
Oh.
I am a fan.
I am
a fan of redemption stories.
I had a feeling.
I like to hope and think that he has, in his personal life, turned things around. Let's hope and pray. Like I said, and
He's
yet,
got him. Speak up.
Right.
Go
And
ahead.
yet, I like to
let
hope
it
he has.
out. Cleveland
The comments
fan.
was stupid. I totally agree with you 100%. Was stupid. But here's where we are now in 2026. He still has an opportunity. I actually disagree with what you guys said about like the fact that he can go 10-0 and they're not going to accept him. Football fans are fickle as hell. Okay, you start winning games. If they go into the playoffs this year and make a deep run to the playoffs, and he's the quarterback, that will change in a hurry. We are very fickle. One example of that, Michael Vick. You know this all too well. Andy Reid took a chance on Michael Vick in 2009.
Yeah, but outside of Philadelphia, he wasn't.
It doesn't matter.
Outside,
Dogs.
No, what I'm saying.
Noah.
I'm trying to support you. I'm saying outside of Philadelphia, he was hated.
But the noise will never dwindle completely. Okay, you're never gonna get 100% approval rating. It's not gonna happen. Okay, but he starts winning football games, and actually shows that he's a better human being. That goes a long way. Football fans are very fickle. I disagree with the fact that he can go 10-0. That will change in a hurry. Yeah, because the Browns have no quarterbacks. They have Dylan Gabriel, who sucks. They have Shedeur, who I think sucks also too. Whoa. So they need someone to turn this franchise has been trash for what 50-something years now. Come on, let's go. I mean, it will take 10-0, whatever. They'll turn around. I just, Jake, I know you disagree with that too. Also, I get what you're saying. I'm just saying that football fans in general, as a collective, are very fickle. You start winning ball games, that changed everything.
Right, but they're on two different paths. Michael Vick wasn't, as like Pat said, where's his PR guy? Michael Vick had scripted stuff. He got up there. Andy Reid's telling him what to say. He said everything perfect.
True.
I
agree.
Whatever. Deshaun's not. He's on a downward slide right now, Ernest. It's not going to.
You're right.
You could believe in unicorns and fairies and all this other stuff. It's not happening, Ernest.
But here's the reality. No, you're missing. Yeah. He still has the opportunity because he is the starting quarterback, and it's like week 1. So that can change right now.
I have the opportunity to be Cleveland's starting quarterback sometime too. But
if you play well, they will cheer you. They will support you. That's my point, though. There's a fine line between being hated and being respected in the NFL.
This is the worst take of the show's history. Go ahead.
I disagree with that 100%, but okay, go ahead.
Yeah, talking about more preseason winners, including Noah, that is. We're going to talk about who we have seen a lot from in the preseason and like so far.
Mike haven't said that, though. Does he turn around? Hell no. He sucks. He's done.
He can't stop.
He's cooked.
He can't stop.
Wow.
Sorry. Just stop.
He's got an iPad and he's going crazy. I don't know what's going on
it's
with
over.
this kid. It's too much screen time,
Sorry.
probably.
Go ahead, Mike.
So, the quarterbacks that are generating some buzz in the preseason, Fernando Mendoza, the first pick, he's played well. The backup for the Ravens, Joe Fagnano, he's been good so far. So is Geno Smith, which is nice to see. Geno Smith's had a good time. The San Francisco backup running back, Kalen Black, has had a good preseason. So has wide receiver of the Cowboys, Camden Brown. Malachi Fields is doing work for the Giants right now, which is good for Earnest. Pat, anybody in the preseason that's really caught your eye?
Well, I haven't watched much of the preseason, so I can't comment on it with any kind of definitiveness. But I will say this: the preseason to me is not really about any other position because of the way that it has morphed into that we're just trying not to get anybody hurt. So nobody really plays. It's all a bunch of third and fourth string guys that really aren't even probably going to make the team. The only position I think that you can look at and gain a little bit of insight in, believe it or not, to me, is the running back position. Those are the guys that I just want to see some hip shift and some quickness and some spurt and that kind of stuff. And if you can get that out of a running back, even in the preseason, I think that can translate to some extent in the regular season. Again, they're not playing against the number one defenses and that kind of and scheming and that kind of stuff. But I'm just looking for burst. I'm looking for breakaway speed on some things and that kind of stuff. Quarterback and everything else, they're throwing against vanilla defenses. So even guys that can look really good in the preseason, like a guy like Geno, because he's been around, he knows he can read linebackers and stuff like that, know that they're not in any kind of a scheme, so he can pick apart that kind of stuff. So I don't put as much credence even in quarterback play. Yeah. So I think it's very difficult to say, oh, this guy. I'm trying to think of the kid that was the tight end that played on the Giants and came from Miami. Shockey. He was one of those guys. I remember in the Hall of Fame game, like it was like, this guy's a player. Yeah. I don't even know if you can get that anymore, just because of the way that the coaches set up these games, that they just don't want to get anybody hurt, so they don't play anybody. And even if you're a first or second or third round pick, you might get a little bit, of a look, but it's really hard, I think, to gain any kind of a real perspective during preseason. Now you're probably better off, and I've said this before, a lot of these teams run either inter-squad scrimmages or they scrimmage against other teams. That's when you have the number ones, believe it or not. It's seven, you're going 7 plays and stuff, but you can get a read, believe it or not, in a lot of these scrimmages, because you at least have the number ones playing. They're not scheming or anything like that, but they're trying to run legitimate plays, as opposed to what this is, which is just like, let's get through the game so that no one gets hurt. So
that's a great take, Pat, because there's very few positions in the NFL, especially that one player's isolated on an island by himself, and running back is that they could create their own offense with their moves and their shiftiness. The quarterback's relying on the receivers and the linemen, and the linemen are relying on each other to not miss opportunities. It's hard to determine who's making mistakes unless you're really breaking down the field, so it makes it tough. It's almost like when we were when I coached Pop Warner, we would get the offense together, and the offense is the starting offense, and all the kids on the defense they were the other kids, and then you're matching up your offense and just running over your second team defense and just absolutely kicking their ass. It doesn't really show you anything, and that's what that's exactly what Pat's saying. I think that you get very little at it. If I had to say anybody, and I'm here for it, and not because I like Dallas, but Milton in Dallas is actually playing pretty good, the quarterback, and that'll put a little pressure on Dak, and I like that.
But it's also why I don't invest as much time preseason as everybody else does. People who watch it religiously is because they love football. They're excited that the sport is back. What I look for, especially with quarterbacks, is more about body language. Like when I assessed Mendoza last week on the podcast, it was about, forget the numbers and everything else. Does he look the part? Do you see confidence? Do you see a guy that's comfortable on the field? That's all I care about. Because week one, the game's going to change tremendously. The speed's going to change tremendously. People are going to be more invested in week one and beyond. So that's why preseason, you got to be very careful and not to get too trapped into these narratives, because some things can stick, but most things won't.
So somebody who did have a really good first preseason game that we haven't talked to Pat about is Drew Aller, who was completing 10 of 13 passes, 154 yards, and 3 touchdowns in the first preseason game. I'm sure you know all about this kid. With Aaron Rodgers, this definitely being his last year, have you seen the future Steelers quarterback yet?
Well, again, to what Earnest's point is, you're looking for like release and ball arm strength coming, with a guy making a cut or whatever. And Aller has that. I mean, I think he had that at Penn State. The issue with him at Penn State is, his footwork was terrible, and they didn't seem to coach him up at all. Like he kind of regressed as his time went on there. So can you bring that natural ability and athleticism? He's got the stats at 6'4" and 230 or whatever he is. That's what you want in a prototypical quarterback. So he has that. And he seems like he has the arm strength. Can they fix, those couple things like, with his footwork and his reads and not throwing the bad interceptions and those kind of things that plagued him at Penn State. So you saw a little bit about, in the Packer game. And then this last game when they played the Jets, and it just seemed like, again, I think to what Earnest is saying, it's like, oh, this guy's going to be the savior. And then the very next game, he just looks kind of pedestrian. So the answer is I don't know. You can hope that maybe he's going to take up the mantle, and I'm sure that's why they drafted him where they did. But based on just a couple preseason games, he has showed that there's something there. But can you translate that into he's going to be our next quarterback next year? I don't think so at this juncture. But I guess they're going to play him against Buffalo in the last preseason game. And then I don't know what happens. See, then it ends, because then Rodgers takes over. You're going to have Mason Rudolph be the second. You're not going to see much of Aller at all during the regular season now. They're going to have practices and things like that. But I just don't know if you're going to get any kind of a read from him from the start of the regular season on, just because he's not going to play at all.
So you're saying the odds of the Steelers quarterback next year and beyond is not on this roster?
I don't know.
If you had a lean, I'm saying.
Say that.
No. If you had a lean.
I have hope that Aller can become that guy. I think he's probably positioned himself better than Will Howard has based on, again, but you're just comparing him to one other guy. And again, the word is that the quarterback draft next year is going to be very good. But again, we thought this year was going to be very good, and then guys decided to stay. So maybe Arch Manning decides to stay again. I don't know. And I think the odds would probably say that they're going to take another quarterback next year, because you're not going to see much more of Aller the rest of this year. Yeah. And how are you going to judge and say, oh, he's definitely our guy? They're probably going to take somebody, maybe not in the first round, but they'll take somebody second or third round, and then. But you're going to. The thing is, though, next year, assuming that Aaron Rodgers does retire, I don't know if you're going to go with Mason next year. You're probably going to say, all right, we need to at some point bite the bullet here and figure out if one of these young guys, whoever that is, can lead this team. So I wish I had a better definitive answer for you, but I don't. I just don't think anybody knows at this juncture.
Because reality is the Steelers won't be bad enough even this year to get a quarterback high in the draft. So.
That's true. That's probably true. And then you have to also say, well, do they have enough draft capital that if they're drafting 20th again, can they move with what they have into like the top 10 and get one of those guys? They probably could, but you would have to sacrifice a decent chunk of your draft next year, maybe the year after that, to do that. But if they like a guy and they feel like they can get him in the top 10, then that might be on the table too.
Noah?
No, they spoke. I can't top what they just said.
Yeah,
what do I Pat speaks. Say no.
Keep it. All I'm gonna say is this. I'll say it again. I said on my show last week. Keep an eye on Baker Mayfield.
I can't with this.
Okay, now we're going to go over the injury report. One of the injuries that I was not too happy with, Ashton Genty. He got an ankle sprain. It looked a lot worse.
Could have been worse. Could have been a lot worse.
Was it the high ankle sprain? Because those are a little tougher.
They're just calling it a regular ankle sprain, but the way they acted when it happened, everybody's down on one knee, and I'm like, this is looking really bad.
Yeah,
the one knee is bad.
Yeah, Jamar Chase actually.
That looked bad.
They had one knee on him yesterday.
Preseason, like he's.
Yeah, that one we're going to have to monitor, especially going into fantasy football season. Breece Hall, he has a groin injury. He's expected to miss 2 to 3 weeks, but he's supposed to be ready for week 1. Calvin Austin III from the Giants, he just got carted off recently.
He's up for a year.
So, George Kittle is still questionable, but they did take him off the PUP list, which is good for them. And Kamara has also hurt. With
while you're on these injuries, am I seeing right where, like, the quarterback for Kansas City, he's just going to be in there. He's back.
They're saying it's not definitive yet.
Like he's out
but they're
there
saying
throwing for him.
Right, and they're saying
Patty
week 1
Mahomes,
is the goal. Week 1 is the absolute goal.
Wow.
Weren't we talking like week 8 at some point?
Yeah.
We did projections.
But here's the thing's weird, though, too. Well, no, to add to your point, though. Have you noticed, guys, that like this year, a lot of quarterbacks last year come back from, are actually positioned to start this week? Daniel Jones, another one.
Peptides.
It's something. I don't know what it is. It's something though. But we're seeing. I don't know if the science gotten better, but because ACL injuries were literal 12-month injuries, and now guys are in camp ready to go.
Yeah. Talking about a guy who was injured the second game of the season years ago and kind of never was the same again. Nick Chubb has announced his retirement. What I found very interesting is he came out of that mid-2010s Georgia trio with him, Sony Michel, and Todd Gurley.
So good.
And honestly, Nick Chubb made it the longest in the NFL. He's retired at age 30. Todd Gurley was, supposed to be the next great. Obviously, he had a lot of injuries. So did Sony Michel. It just kind of plays into the running back notion these days of there's a big expiration date on that position. How do you feel about that?
I mean, and Nick played for Cleveland, so he already had 2 strikes against him. But
Sorry, Jake.
I love Nick. I love Nick Chubb, man. I feel so bad that he wasn't really able to go out. He got injured against the Steelers too, which was a shame. But this guy to me, again, I go back to like Deebo Samuel and guys like that, where it's like he was a football player. Like he was hard nosed. He could get you the extra yard. He had good shift to him. He wasn't like pointing at himself or doing it. He just ran the damn ball and handed it back to the ref and stuff like that. I loved this guy as a player. Like he just was hard nosed and got you the yardage that you needed to get. And I'm just now. Listen, I didn't even know he played that long. I thought he only played like 5 years.
I agree. I thought so too.
But I'm glad at least he got a chance to go out somewhat after the injury. He obviously wasn't the same player, and that may have been because of age more than anything. But I think he's going to be one of those guys that sort of fades away, and not a lot of people remember how good he really was at one point. Primarily because he was playing for Cleveland, but if he was with another team, he could have been a Super Bowl contributing player. And it's a shame that he got hurt the way he did because he was still playing really good. Even after 6 years, he was still playing at a very high level. And it's just the other part, like I said, it's just I don't think a lot of people are going to remember him, and that's really a bad thing too because he was a heck of a good football player.
Yeah, he was all gas, no brakes. But it does lend a question. I'm glad you said that, Pat. Is a possibility that if there's a Super Contender this year that, say, loses a running back, say in October, November, I think Chubb is relatively healthy and can give it one more go. Could you see him come off for one last run on a contender to try to get a ring before he retires?
It's not a thing. When's the last time a running back came back?
I mean, the thing is, 8 years. A lot of threads, not a lot of threads on ties anymore, obviously. But you're asking for a guy to come in maybe for a 2-month run. I know. I wouldn't be the worst thing in the world.
No.
Okay. All summer long, it's been very contentious on the show, the ESPN Top 100.
Where are we now?
Who's number one?
Well, we didn't. Noah wasn't here when we went over a couple of numbers last week, so I'm going to go 21 down to 9. 21. The reason I started here is because it's Sam Darnold and
way too high.
Yeah, Earnest didn't agree with Sam Darnold being 21 on that list. 20 is James Cook from the Bills. CeeDee Lamb at 19. Patrick Mahomes at 18. Then you got JT from the Colts at 17. Jamar Chase at 16. Derrick Henry at 15. Brian Burns from the Giants at 14.
Too high.
Yeah.
Way too high. Great player. Way too high.
Yeah. Trey McBride,
he is good.
Who had a great season last year. They're not thinking he's going to do that well this year. The tight end for the Cardinals at 13. Will Anderson Jr. At 12.
D-line,
Drake May from the Patriots at 11.
It's got to be May.
That is wild.
That is.
Did anybody not see the last game of the season?
Yeah.
Like,
what happened?
that is crazy.
I mean, was MVP runner-up last year, though.
That's crazy,
though.
Patrick Surtain the second at 10, and they've gotten down to 9. That is Jahmyr Gibbs from the Detroit Lions. I think
that's about right, though. He's an impact player.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the Drake May thing is interesting because I like to have a 2-year sample size before I start really judging these guys. He had one rookie year was okay. Last year, obviously MVP candidate. But he melted down quickly, and they didn't play anybody in the playoffs.
Yeah, so 2-year sample doesn't apply here because they talked about this. They say this is specifically for right now, so you can't. We're not talking.
So
about
Patty's only low because I'm assuming when they made this list, it was before they figured out Pat might be back in week 1, most likely. So
I agree.
If that was the case, he'd be in top 10 again. So
yeah. So we're going to move on from that and talk about the AFC West, which is supposed to be one of those very interesting races. You got the Broncos, you got the Chiefs, you got the Chargers, and you've got the Raiders. We know who's probably finishing last in that division. I'm going to go ahead and say that now. Obviously, the Broncos broke a long-running run for the Chiefs in that division last year. So, Ernest, go ahead and run down the over-unders.
You want to go from bottom to the top, or what do you want to do this?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, your Raiders, 5.5 wins.
Ooh. I'm going to go under on that.
Wow.
Same here.
No, I go over.
The division. Well, they're going to go. They probably win one game in the division this year.
Yeah.
So they're going to win in 5 divisions. So
I think you're over.
So you got to find 5 more wins the rest of the year, and I don't know if it's on their schedule. I can see that. So I go under. Pat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I do think they're finishing last in that division. So that is, you got to figure they're winning 6 games or 5 games. So that's probably a good number. I always just view it that you end up winning a couple games that you probably shouldn't win. Like you end up playing your division opponents at the end of the year now. So they could be playing Kansas City, and Kansas City has the division locked up, and so you're going to win that game just because Kansas City's not playing anybody. So that's 5 and 6 is a tough number for me. I'm probably going to say under, but that's close because I think most teams can win 6 games just because
Yeah.
other teams don't take them seriously. Something. Remember, Raiders went into New England in the first game last year and dominated it.
We're like,
so,
whoa, Raiders are back.
So you might have something where it's like, a couple teams just overlook them. But I still think they finish under 6 games.
All right, how about the formerly San Diego Chargers and 9.5 wins?
I'm going over.
Yeah, I'm over for sure.
See, this is the thing. I think the next 3 teams are pretty much playoff teams this year. So I'll go over this one. Herbert's got to get a playoff win finally.
This is where Harbaugh has to earn the money
yes,
here.
Absolutely.
You know, we talked about last year, and they didn't quite get to the level I thought they would. They better do something this year with Herbert and Harbaugh, because if it don't happen this year, I don't know when it's going to happen. Herbert's been there a long time now, and Harbaugh's been there, this third year. That's enough to start getting some results. So I think the most pressure maybe in the NFL on a team is on these guys. Because,
I agree, 100%.
They got to do it this year, and they're in a tough division, like you said. Aside from the Raiders, these other 2 teams are good.
Harbaugh has that thing, like he's in that spot where my grandfather had a quote about this that I can't use here. It'd be like, or get off the pot. So it's time, right? No, I can't say it.
It's a family show.
He's not on the hot seat for the record, guys. He's been
right.
playoff every year. So, all right, next one, the Broncos 9.5 as well.
I'm going under on this one. I actually think the 2 teams I think they're going to take a step back this year are the Broncos and the Patriots. I think both these quarterbacks are good. Yes. They're good quarterbacks, but I don't think they're quite at the level yet of Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. So I think both these teams take a slight dip back, and the Broncos are one of them. I'm going under on this one, and I think they finished 3rd in that division.
I agree with you because both teams went 14-3 last year. So they're not winning 14 games again this year. So how big the drawback is going to be, the regression, is the question. And you got to figure the Chiefs, if Mahomes is back and healthy week 1, that's going to improve the team immediately, okay? They've upgraded that roster. So can they get to 10 wins? It's possible. Would I bet on it? I have better odds than the Chargers win division than the Broncos. So I'm going to go under in this one.
Yeah,
9-8 for the Broncos.
I'm with Pat with the quarterback situation. So there's football and there's games where you win these games and everybody gets all excited because your quarterback played great and win games. But there's also weird stuff that happens in these games where you see stuff like, that should have been an interception for a touchdown going the other way. Mm-hmm. He got away with one. So the smart people, like that people that pay attention to that, they see those things and they start grading these quarterbacks based on actual potential of the play, not because they got lucky and it got a tip drill and somebody intercepted it. You could see the difference in there. And there's winners and losers. And some of these guys, they're not there yet. Like Pat said, we're going into year 2, and they both had meltdowns. And there's variance in this sport. Just as good as you get lucky, where you're on this run where you get on a 10-game streak and you're lighting it up like New England did, it goes the other way and it goes bad really, really fast. And I think that just like Pat said, I have the Broncos under. I have them finishing 3rd for sure.
I'm with you too. Also, remember that Giant game last year? They shouldn't have won, but another one. The Eagles game too. So just saying. Yeah. And finally, the Chiefs 10.5. I mean, we're going to assume Mahomes playing week 1, right? We're all going to assume that.
I love the Chiefs this year. I think I for whatever reason, I actually think people are underestimating them. I think the Chiefs are going to be a legitimate Super Bowl contender again. I think Mahomes feels like he has something to prove. Might take him a little while to get his legs under him. But I think that team is stacked, and their weakest thing is probably having Kelsey come back. Yeah. But I actually think they're going to play pretty well this year. Again, it might take them a little bit to get on track, but assuming Mahomes stays healthy the whole year, I think he feels like this is going to be like Tom Brady had the second act.
Yes.
This is the beginning of his second act, and I think he's going to play really well this year.
So, go ahead.
So you look back on a Super Bowl 2 years ago, and they got throttled by the Philadelphia Eagles, and you start to think about what they have, and they changed since then. So are they still that same team 3-5 years ago? I don't think they are. Kelsey was a large part of that, and Patty, he's going to start losing steps or whatever. So they had some great receivers and some other things there. So did they replace all those pieces? I know they're very good at drafting these shifty, super fast wide receivers, and Andy Reid's greatest scheme. Is Spags still there? Right?
Yes.
Okay, so he's still there, but he didn't have a great showing on the defensive side. But yeah, they have arguably one of the best corners in the league. They have arguably one of the best D linemen in the league. So they have these pieces in place. But I don't think. I think they still have some. I think they have a correction to do here where they're going to slip another year. I think they're under.
Well, but remember, it slipped last year. It was 6-11. Don't forget that. So,
no, I know. And don't forget it was 6-11. And when Patty was playing, they still weren't playing great. Yeah. So don't forget.
But they retooled the roster, though, which I will say.
And then remember the season before, like even before, like they were eking it out.
Yes,
they were barely getting those wins.
Because I agree with you. They're not going to go back to 15-2, 14-3 Chiefs. Right. But can they get to 11 wins? I say yes. Over.
So in the last couple of weeks, I want to tell everybody I did get Earnest drug test last week.
I passed.
Earnest claimed that the Saints were going to win their division this year, Pat. And the couple weeks before that, Noah
Which
had
is a hotter take.
Noah had claimed that the Browns were going to win their
Pat,
division.
weigh on this one. Who was the worst take?
Well, listen, would you have assumed that the Chicago White Sox were going to win their division this year based on a couple of years ago? The Saints, that division stinks. I mean, Carolina, who else you got in there? Tampa. And
the fact I can't remember this it tells you how bad they are. Bro.
So,
they don't stand out.
I mean, they can do it. I don't think they will with Tyler Shuff or Schaff or whatever you say his name, Shuck. But I definitely think they were much, much better and much more competitive than I could even remotely imagine last year. And maybe, again, thinking they're under the radar, no one's going to expect anything out of them, they might do something this year. I wouldn't completely dismiss that. I think, obviously, trying to get by Tampa, trying to get by Carolina, but those teams are just kind of average. So I think they probably could do it. And isn't there something in the NFL like almost no division repeats itself year after year? So why not?
The take wasn't a credit to the Saints. The take was a discredit to the NFC South.
Yeah,
more than anything else. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
I mean, best team roster-wise is Atlanta. Best quarterback is Tampa. But all have issues.
Tampa.
So, well, by default.
Tampa.
It's by default. Baker's better than Tyler Shuck.
Baker's terrible at football. Write it down.
By the way,
Write
I'm
it down.
really enjoying quarterbacks.
And he's bad at, and he doesn't.
Really
He
enjoying
can't.
it.
There's a okay. So they're not giving him a contract for a reason, folks. Like they're seeing the same stuff that I see, and I'm like, this guy's not it. Like we know, and they're not giving. If he was the guy, they would just sign him. Why aren't they signing him? And I'm not. I am an expert, but not at the level of some of these other guys, and they're not paying him. But they're not paying him for a reason.
Because he's not the money he wants is not worth.
Yeah, but
he's not a top 6 guy.
That's not the point. In today's NFL, if you have a guy who's the top 10, you take him and you lock him up.
I told you this. I think they're okay if they fall apart this year. I think they're okay with gutting the entire roster and say goodbye and gutting from the ground. They'll
start with Baker.
They'll replace Todd Bowles, replace Baker Mayfield, and go forward.
The worst part is next season's show, Baker's going to end up in Pittsburgh, and it's going to be a nightmare.
I just said that. I just teased that earlier. So
okay, so my small hot take. It's not even that hot.
Okay.
I think the
Not
Chargers. I think the Chargers win that division.
I had
this
that.
year.
I don't think it's a hot take at
like
all.
them in the AFC
I think
West.
talent-wise,
it's not that hot, but that's who my pick to win that AFC West is. Pat, you had a couple of hot takes. They had to do with football.
No, the one actually has to do with basketball.
Okay, I look
here we
forward
go.
to that.
Here we go.
I just don't want to miss because
No.
these are not, can't miss hot takes that Pat has coming back to the show.
How appropriate today for hot takes.
Exactly.
In the hot box that we're in.
Warm takes. So we're going to talk about fantasy football, and this is one of my favorite lists. It's people that you want to avoid. Everybody has those guys every year that done them bad in the past. This year, just looking it up, doing a search, I got guys like K9. He's now the Chiefs running back. It skyrocketed, for him after the postseason last year, winning the Super Bowl. But a lot of people are saying avoid him. They're also saying avoid Josh Jacobs with the Packers and Quinshon Judkins of the Browns. Wide receivers and tight ends, they're talking about fading Rashee Rice, Jordan Tyson from the Saints, Kittle just because of his injuries, and Dalton Kincaid. And one of the big things they're saying is just don't take any of the early round tight ends. Try to find another sleeper like a McBride in the late rounds of fantasy football.
Yeah.
Anybody, if you played fantasy, Pat, that you would stay away from this year?
Well, I wouldn't stay away from the running back in Kansas City because I think Mahomes, especially early in the year, they're probably going to rely on the running game a lot. Yeah. So at least in the early part of the year, I think they're going to be handing the ball off to keep the pressure off Mahomes. I hate to sound like this because it's not that I hate this guy or actually these two guys. I don't. I just think that they're going to need another year and see what we got out of them, and that's Drake May and Bo Nix. I wouldn't put a lot of money into either one of these guys until I see some consistent high level play out of them. So those are the two guys I would avoid.
I agree with you mostly on Bo Nix, to be honest, because Bo Nix is very inconsistent. Like last year, he'll have one great game or one great quarter, great half, and then he'll have 2 crappy games in a row. So, like, Drake May, because Drake May is more mobile, I think is why you still want to kind of maybe lean him a little more because he can do both. But for me, it's receivers. It's Stephon Diggs, number 1 in Washington, and Deebo Samuel, because the fact that he always gets hurt. in San Francisco.
Yeah, I have a big problem with fantasy football. I'm going to confess right now. I cannot take a player in my division in the NFC East that's not on Philadelphia. I can't do it. I cannot do it.
I respect
can't take it. I can't. So I think I'm hamstrung a little bit. But that's my thing. I'm not going
Have
to
you
take those
done
guys.
it and like regretted it?
No,
like,
I just
gotta
can't
root
do it
for
at
this
all.
guy.
It's a mental
I
thing.
can't root for. I can't
Can't
find
do it.
I get
it
it.
in me.
I totally get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally get it. I'm the same way.
But no, you're not.
I used to be the same way. When I played, I used to be the
Your
same way.
roster last year.
Now I don't care.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I
Back in the
care.
day when I cared about fantasy football, I used to be that way
Yeah,
too.
I can't root for Dak Prescott on a Sunday night. I can't have it.
I mean, never draft Tony Romo.
Yeah. We'll be back to talking about fantasy more soon because we're going to have our PBKC picks among us, our fantasy draft coming up next week that we might also broadcast.
Who
live,
won
but
last
I'll
year
let you
again?
know
Pat,
about
your brother
that.
won last year?
You should do
I
your
believe
rookie
he did,
year.
yeah.
Pat, this should be Pat's rookie year and get him in there.
I don't know if he wants
I
to
played.
play.
I did play fantasy when I was with ESPN. I did fantasy
Let's
football
go.
1 year, and I again, this is me. I'm not trying to denigrate anybody that likes fantasy football. It ruined football for me. I hated it.
Pat,
I-
you and I are the same person. I
It-
swear to God, because I'm the same.
was
That's why I
like,
stopped.
all I cared about was the individual guys I had,
Right.
and if they didn't
Yeah.
do good, I was pissed. I wasn't rooting for teams anymore. I was out of my mind. Like I had Michael Vick and who was my other quarterback? Jake Delhomme. Those are my two quarterbacks. And one of them was always getting hurt or something. I'm like, and I didn't get the other guy in time, and I'm like, I hated it. Like I couldn't. And everyone's making your fantasy team sucks. I'm like, yeah, I don't enjoy. I didn't enjoy it at all.
Pat,
Pat quit
go ahead.
fantasy for longevity. He's clearly distressed.
Pat,
with this.
what you said is literally the reason why I stopped playing in 2018. Because when people talk analysis and you want to talk actual football, but your fantasy number. I don't care about your fantasy numbers. Okay, I care about what's on the field. Like,
Well, that's what happened to me. I stopped caring about it on the field. I only wanted my fantasy guys to do good.
For example, like 1 year when Russell Wilson was in the MVP conversation, but his numbers weren't like up to speed like Brady was and whatever. And people say Russell Wilson sucks because his fantasy numbers stink. I'm like, really? Are you watching the same game I am? Come on. And that's why I checked out.
They're not watching different games. They're watching a fantasy game and a regular game.
Yeah, they're stupid. And they're stupid. Next.
Yeah, people that
Call 'em
people
out.
know like that from the coaching standpoint about fantasy football, and then we'll move on. Are usually not good at fantasy football because they know actual football. And that's not how you play fantasy, and that's
a good point.
That's
Mike.
what
Josh
happens
Gordon,
usually.
great fantasy.
That's not an excuse for you, Noah.
like Don, like
No, that's not for
Jalen
you.
Hurts. Jalen Hurts in the tush push. It's like he's the best quarterback who ever played fantasy football.
Yeah, but he's not.
Like Josh Gordon, great fantasy player. Josh Gordon, football player.
Yeah.
Bad judgment. So there you go.
So let's talk about the new offer. And when I say new offer, I'm talking about it just started on Monday at 12 a.m. from Hard Rock Bet. They have a welcome offer. If you sign up, an initial sign-up bet of $5, you'll get $100 in bonus bets over the next 5 weeks. You have to sign up for a Hard Rock Bet sportsbook account, place a $5 or more bet with a minimum of minus 500 odds or more, and you're going to get 100 in bonus bets, $20 bonus bets over the next 5 weeks. And here's the cool thing about this offer that they've never had before since we've been doing this. They also have one for existing Hard Rock Bet sportsbook account members like myself, Noah, all of us.
Really?
If you bet $5, you're going to get $100 in bonus bets over the next 5 weeks. You have to already have an account. Opt in. You have to opt in.
This is
That's
for
one of the
us?
things. This is for us.
Wow.
Opt in and place a $5 or more bet with a minimum of minus 500 odds, and you get $100 in bonus bets, $20 bonus bets over the next 5 weeks.
That's
Wow.
interesting. I'm in this too. So
we should do a little thing where we
Perfect timing.
convert,
Okay.
where everybody gets their bonus bets and converts and see who can run it up.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe we'll talk
that'll
about
be
that
you
on the
probably.
show.
You have time in your hands, so you
Yeah.
be you.
Yeah, we'll talk about that on the show. But go to our website, pbkennelclub.com/Hard Rock Bet for more information on that. And that's offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Please call or text 1-833-PLAY-WISE.
You're amazing, Mike. That was great.
Thanks. That's the only
That
person
is
that's
not
ever
a
said
playback. That's Mike's actual voice.
Yeah. So now, shortly, because we don't have much of a show left after
someone's on
45 minutes of
Football, baby.
Let's touch a little bit on the MLB right now. The Phillies had 9 straight before losing 2 to the Seattle Mariners. Now they're 4.5 back of the Braves. Do they have a chance in that division, Pat?
Absolutely, they do.
Oh,
Absolutely
he's
they do.
back.
But there's not going to be any shockers, guys. They're going to get into the first round of the playoffs, whoever they play, and they're going to lose. This team is I don't even know how to describe it. They are masters of stringing you along and be like, look how good we can be. Look how good we hit with runners in scoring position, and look how good our pitching can be in our bullpen and all. And then all of a sudden now you lose a couple games to Seattle, and you're right back. So you're not going to win the division and blah blah blah. But you're going to hang on. You're going to make the wild card, and then whoever you play. I mean, it's this team. It's so frustrating to watch these guys because you do see potential there. And then you look at the box score some days and it's like Schwarber 0 for 4, Harper 0 for 4, Turner 0 for 4, and they relied on, the bottom of the order to get 4 hits and win a game 2-1. And I'm like, they're the most inconsistent, maddening team I think I've ever rooted for.
Whoa.
They look so good with the 9 straight wins, including this bizarre game against the Cardinals where they're down to their last strike. They're down by 4 runs in the 9th inning, down by their last strike. I think 5 consecutive batters, and all of them got hits, and they win the game. And then you have that kind of magic, and then you go to Seattle, and Zach Wheeler looks like he's fallen off the face of the earth all of a sudden. And you have to have him. He's got to be ready to pitch, and I just don't know if he is. You keep running Nola out there, Mr. 6 and 11 or whatever he is, and hoping he's going to turn into Aaron Nola from 10 years ago, and that ain't happening. So I just have zero confidence that this team is going to get on a run like they did a few years ago in the playoffs. They're just built, we've seen this show before. I have no reason to expect anything else. Right. They'll make the playoffs, but I have no faith that they're going to do anything once they get there.
Well, keep Pat on fire, Mike. Like, get him on the NBA thing next.
They're supposed to be here, so
get him on. Get him on.
Look at the MVP running right now. You got PCA from the Cubs for the National League -200. He's having a hell of a season.
Crazy. -200 is crazy.
You got Ohtani at +150, and then here are the two that I like, and we'll be talking about this in the sports betting right now. Matt Olson from the Braves, he's having a great season. He's +20,000, and so is Schwarbaum from the Phillies. So Schwarber's at +20,000. I don't know if they got time to come back from that. Then in the American League, Yordan Alvarez is just running away with it,
favorite.
-5,000. Caminero, who's a young player, +1,400, and Bobby Witt Jr. is at +6,000 right now. But it looks like Alvarez is going to run away with the AL MVP right now. But one of the things I wanted to touch on is Ketel Marte, because even though he was supposed to be playing in a game a few weeks ago, there were pictures of him at a casino in Scottsdale, even though he wasn't actually on the IL yet. So one of the things I wanted to say, invite Ketel Marte to come here and play at PBKC. We will make sure nobody takes pictures of you.
I agree with that.
And it will never get out to the media. So next time you're in town, come play poker or come play in our OTB sports bet with us here at PBKC to Ketel Marte, who right now is on the IL, even though he's an all-star player, which is a shame. Now we're going to move on to the NBA, which I know Pat wants to talk about.
I got to hear this.
We haven't talked to Pat since they got LeBron. How do we feel about their chances right now, Pat?
I mean, it's a shame. I really actually am one of probably the few people that like LeBron. I think he's a really good player, and I think if this was LeBron 5 years ago, this would be a huge thing for the Sixers. I just don't know what the guy has left in the tank, and I mean, I hope he does. I hope he has something but that winning mentality is what they need. So from that standpoint, at least they're going to get something out of him from that. But can that translate to get Embiid and some of these other guys to up their game? I don't know. But LeBron has shown he's gone to other markets and won, especially in a place like Cleveland that couldn't win anything, and he did it there. So if he can somehow come to Philadelphia and at least bring that winning mentality, it'll absolutely be worth getting him on board. I just don't know physically what you're going to get out of him. If you can get half the games out of him, I think that's something. But I'm all for it. I think he at the very least brings a winning mentality that the Sixers desperately need. So
LeBron, age 41 last year, 21, 6, and 7 a game.
Yeah.
Age 41. And he's going to have a much better roster in Philadelphia than he was in L.A. last year.
Yeah. While we're talking about some East teams, the Heat's just signed Klay Thompson, obviously a former champion. How about their new big three? Can they compete in the East?
I mean, again, same thing with Klay. He's getting up there. So, I mean, he can still shoot the ball, and that's what the Heat need. So, I think they can. But I don't know, are you going to get a full slate out of him, or are you going to have to do the load management and that kind of stuff, and how does that play into, your positioning in the playoffs if you make that? I don't know. I like Klay Thompson. I think he's a great player, but again, Father Time wins against everybody. So.
Well, he had his worst year last year, but a lot of it too. Also, that team was in disarray in Dallas. No Kyrie Irving, AD missed pretty much most of the year, and so I think you're not going to a team with Giannis, a team with Bam, a team with other shooters. He'll get opportunities to shoot the ball. So I think you'll see a resurgence of Klay again. Not necessarily peak Klay with Steph and KD, whatever, but you'll get Klay back to where he was, say, at least even 4 or 5 years ago. Which
you
is
see what's happening here. So the Knicks built a team heavily through the draft and with young players, and now Miami
draft.
Well, look how young they are. But now the Heat and Philly are trying to play catch up and trying to take shots at this thing.
That's how it goes.
I think New York's still the favorite.
I think no, I agree with you. Yeah. I think the East is still the favorite. I agree 100%. But I mean, this is what happens. A team wins a title, teams adjust.
All right.
Yeah.
This is good for the NBA.
Yeah, Pat, what was your hot take in basketball?
Well, I was just going to say, if we want to elevate this show, like to, so we're in front of more than like 50 people or how many will tune in, we need to get a promoter. We need to get an agent, a guy out there, maybe a guy like James Harden's agent, a guy that can get James Harden $97 million at age 38. A guy that has he won a championship?
No.
A guy that has never won a championship, a guy that basically disappears in the playoffs, got $97 million. LeBron is playing for 8. I had to actually look that up for 2 years. I'm like, is that a typo? I don't care how old he is. James Harden is getting $97 million, and he's done nothing. He's the second guy over 37 to get that kind of a contract. The other guy was LeBron. And I'm like, and we got him in the same category as LeBron James? That story happened last week, and it got very, very little attention, like nothing. I'm like, did anybody realize this guy's done nothing? He's literally done nothing, and somehow has fooled people into thinking he's some like game-changing player, and he stinks in the playoffs. Mind-boggling, absolutely mind-boggling. Listen to James Harden, have at it. You fooled him. I don't know how you did it, but you ought to be kissing that agent's ass from here to eternity, because there's no human that can justify paying you that kind of money.
Pat just said we're the James Harden of podcasts just now. So we are. He started with that.
No, I'm saying we need to be elevated.
We're not very good, but if somebody would just go out there and sell us to Sirius XM or something.
I'm not going to defend James Harden, because I think he's one of the most frustrating players in history of the NBA. Here's why he's still getting a lot of money. Okay, he is one of the greatest players between October and April. He is, without question. He was in MVP conversation 2 years ago.
All right.
Okay, so he's very productive during the regular season. His problem is doing his job in the playoffs.
Lamar Jackson.
But Earnest,
honestly, that's not a bad comp. Yeah. That's not a bad comp.
You want winners.
I agree, 100%.
Guys that win.
Yeah.
I don't care who puts up numbers.
That's why I wanted him. This is why I want LeBron.
Turn him down.
This is why I want LeBron in Cleveland, because Harden will carry the load for the 82 games, but I need the guys that put me over the top in April, May, and June.
Okay, let's talk about right now. If you're on social media, you already got our invite for the CBS Pick'em contest. Weekly winners of that Pick'em contest. I've already had a couple people ask me about that. Weekly winners are going to get 1 ticket to a Feast and Football buffet. The top 5 at the end of the season are going to get tickets to the big game party that we're going to have in the paddock. And then the overall winner is going to get a ticket to the 100K of their choice, one of our monthly tournaments. So start entering now. Obviously, you have a few weeks to do so, but we're getting it out there now so you can enter that CBS Pick'em contest, and that's all over social media if you want to enter. Let's talk quickly about PGA news. Wyndham Clark won the BMW by 3 strokes. He's finally embracing his villain role. Do we like him more now, Pat?
I mean, my whole thing with Wyndham Clark is you don't have to embrace the role. Just be who you are. Like Patrick Reed, people hate him because of the way he comports himself, and he, I think, likes that. Wyndham Clark was just kind of another guy, and happened to win 2 U.S. Opens now, so his stature is quickly elevating in the world of golf. Just be yourself. If you want to throw clubs and all that, you're going to get fined and all that kind of stuff. But if you want to do that, that's who you are. I don't think you have to purposely say, well, I'm glad now people hate me or they're booing me or whatever. Just just let it come naturally. And if you want to sort of play that role, go ahead. But if you consciously say, my dad used to always just like, I'm a character. I'm like, Dad, you can't say you're a character. You either are a character or you're not.
It's like giving yourself your own nickname.
I'm like this. Yeah, I'm just like, so you don't have to embrace the villain. If that is what happens through your actions, then all right. But I like Wyndham Clark personally. I think he's a hell of a golfer, and I think he's just going to actually continue to get better. So, but it'll be interesting to see. I don't think you should purposely say I'm embracing the bad guy role, though.
Yeah. So Scotty Scheffler finally won a couple of weeks ago, the FedEx. He dominated, and then he caught hand, foot, and mouth disease.
What the heck was that?
This was a weird one by Scotty. I'm like, first of all, I don't think anybody knows what you're talking. That sounds like something from World War I in the trenches. So
that's what I'm saying.
if you have a cold or you have something wrong with you, just say I had a cold and I didn't feel it. But don't come up with hand, foot, and mouth and saying like you got it from your kid or whatever. I'm like, well, you need to go to the hospital then. That doesn't sound like you should have been playing golf. So that was a weird misstep by Scotty where I think he tried to say something that wasn't really the case, or I don't know what. He's usually very good in front of the media, but that time I was just like, what are you saying? Don't come out and say you have hand, foot, and mouth disease. That sounds like something very serious, and you shouldn't have been playing. And he said that. He's like, I probably shouldn't have been playing. I'm like, yeah, you shouldn't have been. If that's actually what that was, where your hand was swelling up and you had sores in your mouth, I'm like, you sound like you have leprosy. So
just say, you haven't heard. You don't hear a player ever coming out and be like, yeah, I had the runs last night. I can't play. Like they don't say these things. Just you're sick.
Hold my beer.
Yeah, he finished his 12th with hand, foot, and mouth. Let's move on quickly. We'll talk about in the upcoming weeks more about the NHL, obviously the preseason moves. We talked to your son about a month ago about this on the show. We can't wait to talk more to you about the Cats. Sports betting picks of the week. Mine is Matt Olson for MVP. A $25 bet is going to get you $5,000 at plus 20,000. Wow. So I
should play lottery this week too, Mike.
Exactly. Pat,
what's my man Pete Crow Armstrong's odds?
150, right? Minus 150?
Yeah, can't get any money on that guy.
He's low. He's very
minus
low
150.
Right
He's a favorite in National League right now.
Yeah.
I'd take him, but if it's like 5 to 1
decent
or something.
amount. Right now, Pete Crow is minus 200.
So, okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
Is he behind Ohtani now?
No, he's the favorite.
Okay.
Ohtani's at plus 150 now.
Oh, I'd take Ohtani then if maybe get something out
Those
of that.
were the odds currently on the Hard Rock Bet this morning. So, anybody else got any?
Yeah,
sports
I got some.
bets?
All right, so hear me out on this. So I got the bumper sticker, FAU Dad, and the whole thing, and the kids down there. But look what I cooked up. So I looked at the FAU Owls' chances to win their conference. Ready?
Okay.
Ready for this? So for $1,000 bet,
oh Jesus,
you can win $18,500. So I could essentially pay for the whole year of college with $1,000 if it hits. What do you think?
That's awesome.
I like the idea.
Is Lane Kiffin coming back to coach?
No, that would have been great. But so we're going. Yeah, so for $1,000, I get a free year of tuition at FAU.
awesome bet.
And that's a sole bet, right?
Yeah, you just win the conference.
Okay.
Just give us
18-1.
Give us the money.
And and I have season tickets. I got them for $87.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, we'll broadcast from the stadium. Awesome. Go ahead.
I'm gonna do a 2-bet parlay on the last 2 weeks we covered here on the show. The Chargers win the West at plus 185, and parlay that with the Saints winning the division at plus 260. Bet $100, make $1,026.
Wow, I like it.
Right.
Let's talk real fast. What's going on? The card show's coming up the end of the month. That's going to be a hot show for sure. That's going to be on the 30th with JSA here with authentication services available. We got September 100K is coming up early in September, so watch out for that. That's the 3rd through the 6th. August high hands are going on right now. And don't forget about the paddock shows. We got some great shows. We just announced another show for 2027. It's Greggy and the Jets coming up, an Elton John tribute. And so fabulous lineup we have thanks to Sully and our marketing department. So it starts off with Absolute Queen on the 2nd. Then we got Bad Moon Rising in the Beach Boys on October 16th. So that's going to be awesome. Go to our website for tickets. And what are your final thoughts, Pat?
Clemson unranked for the first time, I think, in 20-plus years
really?
in the AP. Dabo, got to get something done here. I'm not happy when you're winning the Weed Eater Pool and Bowl, but you can't be unranked with the resources you have. Clemson better get it together soon.
He's got to be on the hot seat this year. This has got to be it for him. That's it.
Not ranked.
That's insane. It's been, at least 15, 20 years?
I think it's been 20-plus years.
Yeah, that's insane. Calm for the storm, man. I'm looking forward to the next 2 weeks. Football starts in, 2 weeks now, I think?
Yeah.
I'm ready. If today's show is any sign things come, we're going to be cooking.
Yeah, I don't have to go to Dolphin games this season or ever again, so that's great news. But I do. But the FAU, I'm looking forward to it. My kid's dorm, it overlooks. You could see the stadium or whatever, and I'm ready for it. She's talking about pregame parties and stuff, or I don't know.
Oh, let's all go. It's going to be great.
It's going to be great. So
broadcasting live from Haley's dorm.
FAU's.
What's the Dolphins over under this year? Is it
4.5? 4.5, and it's too high, Patrick.
They're ranked 32. Their positions, everything. It is an absolute nightmare.
And not only that, look at their schedule. I can find only 2 wins.
Yeah, the first game against
the
Raiders.
The Jets, and the Raiders.
Some things are just supposed to happen for a reason. Like whether it be my life and the Dolphins' demise, this is perfect timing. I could have had to watch that stuff.
Yeah. We're welcoming Pat back. We're glad he's back on the show. We can't wait to talk more NFL and sports action in the upcoming weeks. And we're going to see you next Wednesday at 10 a.m. Have a great week, everybody.
PBKC is your entertainment destination for poker, table games, OTB, Paddock live events, and exceptional eats. The Paddock Restaurant is perfect for meetings, corporate functions, parties, fundraising, and more. Call 561-683-2222 extension 199 and book your next event today.